I think that a very overlooked aspect of marketing is YouTube ads. Because with YouTube ads, when people are in Ontario, for example, looking up YouTube videos about how to invest in real estate, and suddenly a pre-roll ad or a discovery ad pops up of you who lives in Ontario saying this is how you do wholesaling in Ontario, that is something that they never have seen before. It's very targeted because of Google's targeting abilities versus Facebook's targeting abilities. And it's something that's going to differentiate yourself from the rest of the people that are wholesaling, trying to just crank out Facebook ads.
What is up, YouTube? Matt McKeever here, and in today's video I sit down with Mike Sherrard and he shares his opinion and his thoughts when it comes to wholesalers and building a brand, or really just a lead generation business. This is something that a lot of wholesalers, especially those looking to build a scalable business, will come across at some point. Am I really just the we buy houses person, or am I building a real brand around this business? I'm not saying there's one way that you have to go about doing it, but I love always getting other experts' opinions and just hearing how they'd approach maybe an industry or a niche that they haven't personally done, but where their experience could really still bring a lot of wisdom and experience. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video with Mike.
What's up, guys? My name is Mike Sherrard. Incredibly honored to be on Matt McKeever's YouTube channel today. I was recognized as one of the top 30 realtors on social media in the world, and currently I'm a team leader at eXp Realty and founder of high converting content that helps entrepreneurs and real estate agents with branding, content marketing, and social media marketing, working with channels all the way up to people who've featured guests like Grant Cardone, Ed Milet, Tony Robbins, Tom Bilyeu, and Mandy Koshman. So I'm excited to be on here with Matt to talk to you about the best social media strategies in 2020 for real estate agents and real estate investors, and how to leverage different platforms in order to exponentially scale your business in 2020.
Let's kind of pivot now and start talking a bit more about wholesaling real estate and your thoughts in general about how wholesalers can benefit from online marketing and media. And I'll maybe give some context or framework for what I see a lot of wholesalers doing here in Canada. And for anyone that's new to the idea of wholesaling, it is a newer idea to Canada. I don't know about in Alberta, Mike, and feel free to share your experience. But here in Ontario, it wasn't really until around 2016 that people started wholesaling real estate. And myself and about 2 or 3 other individuals, we all stumbled upon it through US markets, right, where wholesaling was starting to really dominate back in 2016 and continues to be a very popular strategy now. And we were like, literally in Ontario, we were dabbling because we've got RICO here, the Real Estate Council of Ontario. So, no one was really sure whether it was legal. And now that we've kind of established that, yes, it absolutely is legal, and any brand new wholesaler, once you get through your first RICO complaint and you get over that panic attack, it gets better. Trust me, I've been there, done that back in 2016. That now it's just like kind of wide open. And so I see people approaching their marketing efforts and their sales efforts as a wholesaler, especially with trying to generate motivated sellers, so those inbound leads. There's really 2 approaches I consistently see happening. Either just direct marketing, where it's just like, hey bro, you want to sell your house fast, sell it to me. And then people trying to build a brand around, we help families. We're trying to, we're more than just an investor. We're really a business that's focused on trying to help families improve neighborhoods and things of that nature. I see both of these working well for wholesalers, at least here in Ontario. So first, I guess if you're familiar with any of the history of wholesale in Alberta, I just for curiosity would love to hear. But then secondly, let's jump into the idea of wholesalers and whether you think they should be just taking a direct sales or a more branded approach, or if there's no right answer.
Definitely. So in Alberta, it's not as common. I've been to a lot of real estate investing seminars, and I know a lot of people are saying don't do it at all. I know some are saying there's a fine line you can walk. But for me, in terms of answering your marketing question, I'm very much 100% on the side of providing value and building a brand around the framework of helping families, because there's a couple of different angles from this. Number one is looking at the copy or the emotion that you evoke in the consumer. So if you've got somebody that actually is behind the scenes, a closet motivated seller, if you send them something that just says, here, sell your house to me, it is a bit standoffish. But if you say that you're, like you alluded to, you're a business, okay, now you're not just an individual, there's some trust there because you're legit and there's some sort of legal binding credibility there. Number two, you help families. Well, how do you do it? I don't know. Number one, you've piqued curiosity. And number two, now there's a selfless aspect of it versus the selfish aspect of, hey, come give me your deal. I need to make money. I'm a solo guy trying to make ends meet. I'm going to hook it up. But when they know that there's a solo investor that's trying to sell their house to you at some sort of deal that they've never heard of, there's always a lot of there's a brick wall that's kind of up there in their mind. But when you say that this is something that has worked for other people and has helped you because you're able to get out of your property in a more seamless way than a traditional sale, now there's a lot more trust. But the biggest thing for me is looking at the scalability aspect of it, because you're going to really struggle to duplicate and leverage yourself as a direct marketer that's always reaching out one-to-one saying, here, buy this, let me buy your house, let me buy this. But from the aspect of building a powerful personal brand that's predicated on helping families and providing a different option for people that might be struggling, that can actually lend itself to referrals and growth over time, because people are going to trust that business. You can rank it better for SEO. You can put out better content on YouTube about how you help families with different opportunities without using realtors. And I think from a scalability long-term play, it might not be as immediate doing it that way, but I think the scalable growth aspect of it will pay itself in dividends over time. So I'm very much on the selfless value angle and less of the selfish, immediate kind of instant gratification aspect of doing the direct to sale, let me buy this today.
Got you. And so a lot of people, the reason they're drawn to wholesaling and wanting to start a wholesaling business in the first place is they often want to learn a lot about real estate, but they don't necessarily have a lot of financial resources at their deploy when they're first trying to break into real estate investing. If someone was, say, starting off with like a $5,000 marketing budget, what would initially jump to mind for you in regards to taking that approach of building out a branded approach to their wholesaling business?
Definitely. Well, one of the most unorthodox things that I did in order to break into the investing space early on is I did something that was free. I started running weekly seminars, and I just started running seminars that was providing free value to investors, saying, hey, if you're interested in flipping properties in Calgary, here's some examples of what our brokerage has done. Here's some examples of ROI, and here's how I can help you do it. Cost $0, made me almost six figures in my first year of real estate just from working with investors that were local and wanted somebody that they could trust. So I think there's always a free avenue similar to YouTube. I think blending at least one seminar a month for free with a couple YouTube videos, maybe one a week, and that's going to help build up your credibility and your free value in the back end. Now on the paid advertising, I think there's a couple different angles. Number one, I think Google ads, if done properly, very strategically, can convert extraordinarily. But I think you need to get a bit creative in terms of the targeting and the keywords and not try and go for the big ones that all the top $1 million agents are going for. Do your keyword research, go niche, go super targeted, and the more detailed you can go, the better you're going to do. On the flip side of things, I think that a very overlooked aspect of marketing is YouTube ads, because with YouTube ads, when people are in Ontario, for example, looking up YouTube videos about how to invest in real estate, and suddenly a pre-roll ad or a discovery ad pops up of you who lives in Ontario saying this is how you do wholesaling in Ontario, that is something that they never have seen before. It's very targeted because of Google's targeting abilities versus Facebook's targeting abilities. And it's something that's going to differentiate yourself from the rest of the people that are wholesaling, trying to just crank out Facebook ads. So I think this is something that there's a free aspect of it that just requires a bit of legwork, which is the content creation and the in-person seminars to build that rapport. And I think there's the paid aspect of kind of zigging while people are zagging and looking at how niche can you go and how creative can you get with video marketing.
Do you want to get control of your financial life? Do you want to crush it in real estate with wholesaling? Do you want to join my full-time team of wholesalers like Mike or Shahir? Or what about Tyler? Or Diego? Or what about Amar? Alright, and what do we do, boys?
We make offers, we buy fast. Never gonna miss a deal cause we pay cash. Offers, 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 deals, deals, deals. do you feel? Cause we're Southwestern's biggest source of deals.
Boom! So if you guys want to crush it with wholesaling, you need to join my team. And down below, video description, there's all the links you need.
So I think this is something that there's a free aspect of it that just requires a bit of legwork, which is the content creation and the in-person seminars to build that rapport. And I think there's the paid aspect of kind of zigging while people are zagging and looking at how niche can you go and how creative can you get with video marketing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love the idea of, doing seminars, right? And again, were you doing solely online or in person or blend between the two?
Yeah, I was actually just doing in person. So what I was doing is every 2 weeks, I was running a real estate investing seminar here in Calgary where I just had a co-working space. I would invite people in, have coffee, drinks, whatever the situation was at the time. And we would just usually I had between 30 and 50 people show up every 2 weeks. And this allowed me to build rapport because of my marketing. I was primarily targeting people that wanted to flip in Calgary. So I said, number one, with door knocking, here's how I can potentially find off-market properties for you. And then on the other side, on the resale side, here's how I can get your home sold for more money and less time with creative marketing. So I had an angle that most didn't have. And by presenting that and building and showing it in person, it really allowed me to build a good rapport and credibility with these people.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that, Mike. And I think nothing beats the in-person connection. So huge fan of door knocking and hosting in-person seminars. But something, looking on the bright side of COVID-19, which rarely gets to be said, a lot of us have got very comfortable with Zoom and now consuming more and more content online. And I think even 6 months or a year ago, the pool of candidates or potential people that would consider watching a half-hour or 1 hour seminar on your local real estate market online was a lot smaller than it would be today. So I think for a lot of new wholesalers, mediums like Zoom that we're using right now to record this interview on is a very powerful tool that you can literally use for free or pay for one of their baseline subscriptions. And all of a sudden you can host a group now of up to 100 people online every week. And really all you need to spend is like an hour of your time while you're actually hosting it. You don't even have to commute. You don't have to do a lot of the other things that I feel like people like myself and yourself, Mike, we had to do when people weren't as comfortable meeting online with cameras on. Not necessarily everyone had a mic set up or a camera set up. But again, most of us, because we've had to learn to telecommute because of COVID-19, we're now really adapted to this habit.
Definitely. No, I think it's paving a way for the future. And I think it's great because it's scalable and you can leverage outside of yourself. So I think it's great where you can, once things do get back to normal, you can start doing the in-person. For the time being, you can do Zoom. But I think the powerful part about Zoom is you can attract people from other markets. So if there's people from New Brunswick, Quebec, Nova Scotia, Manitoba that are potentially looking at the great market that's happening in Ontario wanting to invest, they don't have the capacity or the opportunity to show up in person. Now you can host Zoom webinars, run maybe a $10 a day Facebook ad to fill up your event and start attracting people that have either recently visited, have an interest in, or are curious about Ontario real estate. So it's great for leverage and duplication where most people are thinking small, thinking internally with one pinpoint on a map.
Yeah, absolutely agree. And something that both wholesalers and realtors need to really start wrapping their heads around is the inefficiencies between one-on-one meetings. I literally pretty much have just banished them as far as in-person one-on-one meetings from my life because they're so ineffective compared to the ability of, say, even just doing a one-on-one call on Zoom, gain permission to record it, and then sharing it with the entire world, right? Again, even if only 5, 10, 30 people choose to watch it, those are 5, 10, 30 more people that have seen your message, got familiar with your personal brand as well as your business brand, and now they at least have the bare awareness. They might actually eventually move on towards attention and start really diving deep into yourself, your business, and services.
Definitely. No, I think, it couldn't be a more clear picture of what's happening in the future. And I think from both an investor's, wholesalers, and a realtor's perspective, if you're turning a blind eye to this technology becoming the new wave and the new norm, you're going to fall behind. So I think it's incredibly important for people right now in any industry to start adapting and getting ahead of the curve, because this is only going to become the new standard. And as you continue to turn a blind eye and say, well, once COVID is over, then this isn't going to be relevant anymore. That's not the case. This is paving the way for the new norm, where people can see that time is the most precious commodity in the world. And if you can save more time by not, I have Zoom meetings with people that are in my own city that live 2 buildings down from me, because I'm like, if I don't have to get out of my condo, get dressed, go 15 minutes to the coffee shop, spend an hour there, come back, I just saved myself 30 minutes from that 1 hour call. So I think people are understanding that if they want to leverage their time, which they can leverage that time to go back into income producing activities, the most scalable way to build your business is to allocate your time more efficiently.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely agree. And we're on exactly the same page in that regards. So this has been amazing, Mike. I really appreciate it. But before we wrap up, I have to ask some door knocking tips, because I actually think for wholesalers, especially when you're getting started, if you literally don't have 2 pennies to rub together, especially because they got rid of pennies here in Canada, you always have door knocking at your disposal. And in fact, pre-COVID, that was how I broke in all my wholesalers, was they just had to go knock hundreds of doors before I'd even really take them seriously, before I believed that they were willing to put in the hard work. So any tips or lessons learned from, knocking doors yourself?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's a couple of different things that worked really well for me. The first thing is understand what you're going to leverage. So for me, when I was door knocking, I was leveraging a just sold house down the street. So I had a leverage point that I could pique curiosity for. In Calgary, unfortunately, the market is terrible. So if a property did sell at 90% of list price in a week, that's almost unheard of. So I'd find a leverage point, which is number one. Now, number two is I would never be pushy, and I would never ask people if they would like to sell their house. So when I would approach people, I would say, I'd knock and say, hey, it's Mike Sherrard with DXP Realty. I just want to let you know that the property down the street just sold for 99% of list price in 3 days. I was just curious if you wanted to know how that might impact the value of your house. So again, not selfish, not saying, hey, do you want to sell? It's, do you want to know how this might affect you? It's selfless, providing value. And if they would say yes, we know how to book to close for the appointment. If they would say no, my biggest thing was you need to make sure you have a fallback plan in order to at least get information, because a lot of people, whether they're cold calling or door knocking, stop at the no and move on to the next number, because for them, it's a volume game. For me, it was a quality game. So if I can get a name and an email, that's much better than getting 1,000 doors. So for me, if they said, no, I'm not interested, I don't really care, I would always fall back on my plan of, no worries, I understand right now might not be the time. I just wanted to let you know that I do have the majority of our community. And when you say our, because you live in the area, it gives some sort of different connection with them, because now they feel like you're a part of it. So I would say if the majority of people in our community are set up on our monthly market report, which gives you an update every month on what's getting listed, what's getting sold, if things aren't selling, so that at least over time you can get an idea of how the market's trending and what might happen to your property. Don't worry, you can cancel it with the click of a button at any time. So you remove their emotion and the roadblock of, am I tied into this? And oftentimes, because our community, a lot of others are on it, they can cancel at any time. There's almost no reason for them to say no. So I built up an email list with people that are set up on that drip campaign from the monthly market report. And now I can check online when they're looking at it. If they're looking at it 6 times in 1 month, I can follow up with them. But for me with door knocking, it was having, number one, something to leverage. Number two, a script that provides value and is selfless. Number three, a follow-up plan. And number four, making sure that you're nurturing them in a strategic way.
That's amazing advice. That was way better tips than I was expecting. So definitely clear. You know what you're doing when you're knocking doors, Mike. I love it. So if people that, you provided a ton of value here today, if people want to follow along with you on your journey or learn more about you, what's the best way to get in contact or follow along?
Yeah, definitely. So the 2 primary platforms that I'm quite active on are Instagram and YouTube. So my Instagram handle is @Mike_Sherrard. And if you look up my name on YouTube, you'll find my channel there as well. So always trying to put out great content and helping other agents and investors scale their business the modern way.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks again to Mike for sharing his opinions and his experiences and really how he would take that experience and try and bring it to wholesaling. Again, I don't think there's one size fits all answer here, but it's definitely important for those of us looking to build a scalable wholesaling business. Do you want to build a brand, or do you want to just build a lead generation business? So definitely take that in consideration when you guys are thinking about getting into wholesaling real estate. If you want to learn more about wholesaling real estate, check out this playlist right here, or check out some of my other videos on Canadian real estate investing right here. And until next time, remember, making money is a team sport. There's more than enough money in this world for us to all make it, but if you're not saving it, I mean, like, what's the point? Thanks, guys.